Today, we're going to talk about writing inequalities from word problems. And while you have had lots of practice writing inequalities in the slope-intercept form, today we seem to transition quite a bit to the standard form. So I'm going to briefly review slope-intercept form word problems, and then we'll work with the standard form. So first off, when we're talking about this y, what we're talking about is some kind of limit value in the situation. And then the slope, of course, we're going to talk about, we're going to use some kind of synonym for per or each, something that means to multiply by however many items x is and whatever x represents. And then finally, we have the initial value, which is the b. We call that the slope-intercept in an equation, in a graph, in a table. But in a word problem, we pretty much say this is how much things are before we start adding the rate per item. And of course, today's focus really is on inequalities, and you'll have lots of practice with those. So let's take a look at these first two problems here. The yearbook club needs to sell at least $1,000 worth in yearbooks to cover their losses from last year. Each yearbook sells for $40, and there is a design fee of $300. Write an equation to represent the situation in slope-intercept form. So first, let's try to identify our limiting value. And you kind of see it right here where it says at least $1,000 worth. So that's going to be my y, right? So we have $1,000. And then your inequality, that at least, which means whatever they sell, they have to sell more than $1,000 worth or equal to. That's what that at least kind of means. Continuing on, each, that's a synonym of per. Each yearbook sells for $40. Or you could say it's $40 per yearbook. So there's your slope value, your x. And then there's a design fee. That is, if all you do is have them design it, it's going to cost $300. All right, so there's your equation for that one. All right, I'll leave that up there for just a moment. Now I want you to try it on your turn. Pause the video, read through the scenario, and then write an equation in slope-intercept form. Jonathan wants to buy a Mandalorian costume with accessories for his buddy Matt. He currently has $20 and plans to tutor ELA students to earn the rest of the money. If Jonathan charges $40 per hour for tutoring, then how many hours of tutoring will it take for him to save up the minimum amount of $860 for the costume? Write the equation only. So here we go. So what's our limiting factor? What's our y value? What's the part that we have to get to? Well, here we are. We got a minimum amount of $860. So I'm going to do $860. And how much money he earns has to be greater than or equal to $860. He currently has $20, so we can just put our 20 there. That's what he's starting with before he starts tutoring. And that rate, again, is $40. You don't need to put the dollar sign there, but there you go. So 860 is less than or equal to 40x plus 20. All right, now let's look at the standard form problem. Essentially, in this case, we have two per situations. That is, we have this a for the variable x, and then we have this b for the variable y. And essentially, we have two situations where there is a rate or a charge or something like that. And you'll see what we're talking about here in a moment. We still have our symbols defining the relationship to the limit. And our limit, again, is some kind of total or some kind of goal or something we're kind of working the other two around. So for example, for the yearbook club to cover the design costs for their losses for last year, they need at least $1,300. So there's your C, right? There's your $1,300. And at least means, again, they're going to need more than or equal to $1,300. They will be able to bring in $100 per advertisement and $40 per yearbook they sell. Write an equation to represent the situation where X is the number of yearbooks. So that means 40 goes with the X. and Y is the number of advertisements. So plus $100 Y. That's it. Just a slight transition. Notice we had two things that were changing in price. Now it's your turn. Jonathan needs at least $840. So there's your limit. There's your value that you're focusing on, $840. At least means he needs more, right? So he needs at least $840 to buy the costume and accessories for himself. Oh, sorry, Matt. He likes the idea himself. He decided to earn the extra money by tutoring. He charges $40 per hour for ELA tutoring. And he charges $10 per hour for algebra. He must not be as good in algebra. So write an equation to represent the situation where X is ELA. So ELA had 40. So I'll attach my X there. And Y is the number of algebra tutorings plus, what was it, $10 for the algebra. And there you go. Good luck with the assignment.